Lonzo Ball is easily one of the most polarizing players in the NBA. It seems like you're either on one side where you think Lonzo's not that good and he's one of the biggest busts in NBA history, or you're on the side that thinks he's gonna become the next Magic Johnson or Jason Kidd and become an all-time great. And in this video, I am on neither side, because when I look at Lonzo Ball, I realize what he is and I accept him for what he is. But that does not mean that he's above criticism for the expectations that people gave him, not only when he was in LA entering the league, but even right now in New Orleans, as after the last game that the Pelicans had against the Utah Jazz, many people were questioning Lonzo Ball's ability. And trust me, this video is not going to be solely based on that game and that performance in particular, but I do want to make this video right now because it seems like we need to have this conversation about what Lonzo Ball is. And I'm sure if you've read the title, you know I think he is an NBA bust. Now, does that mean he's trash or he's going to be out the league next year? No, that's not what I'm saying. A bust to me is somebody that simply does not live up to the expectations in a significant manner, and that's how I view Lonzo Ball. But before we go into why I think that, let's talk about who Lonzo Ball is as a player. When Lonzo Ball was taken with the second overall pick to the Los Angeles Lakers, many cited his elite court vision and great playmaking ability as the primary reasons why he was selected so high, as many made comparisons to Magic Johnson and Jason Kidd. And even though I think the Magic Johnson comparisons are completely ridiculous, I thought it then and I still think so now, I think Jason Kidd was not that far off from what Lonzo Ball actually is and even was coming into the NBA. And I think that if Jason Kidd came in the league today as he was coming out of college in California years ago, I think the same criticisms that people give Lonzo Ball, they would have them for Jason Kidd. And I think the only difference that separates them is the eras that they played, as the way point guards are playing today is completely different from how they played back then, and the game overall has changed into a more three-point shooting league. But getting back to Lonzo Ball in particular, many people questioned the Lakers for taking Lonzo when he was outperformed by De'Aaron Fox, and considering that he was still on the board and Dennis Smith Jr., who many thought had a lot of potential at the time coming out of North Carolina State, a lot of people thought Lonzo was going to be a project, especially considering his very wacky jump shot. I still to this day do not understand how he got through high school shooting like that, because that's very strange, man. I gotta be honest, that is one of the weirdest jump shots I ever saw, and if Lonzo never fixed that shot, it'd be up there with like Sean Marion for one of the craziest jump shot forms in NBA history if it isn't already there. But getting back on topic, when it comes to Lonzo coming into the league, he was looked at as a player that had a lot of promise due to his pluses, but a lot of people were overlooking the negative aspects, such as his jump shot. And when he came in his rookie year, many of the critics were proven right, as he not only shot 36% from the field overall, but he shot just short of 31% from behind the arc on nearly 7 attempts a game. And to even make matters worse, he shot 45% from the free throw line on 1.4 attempts a game. But despite the fact that Lonzo showed numerous flaws in his game, his rookie season did come with him averaging 7.2 assists as well as grabbing 7 boards, and he was a really good defender, as he averaged 2 steals a contest and established himself as one of the better perimeter defenders coming out of his draft class, which was seen as a negative when he was coming into the draft, as many people thought he was going to be a liability on that end of the court. So to summarize what Lonzo was coming into the league, a lot of people looked at him as a guy that was a good passer and playmaker and had a lot of potential as a starting point guard, but had numerous flaws in his game that made it look like he may result in becoming a bench player. At least that's how I took it. And if you think that is a stretch, you could just look at what happened in his sophomore season, as yes, he did improve from behind the arc, especially in the last couple of games where LeBron LeBron got hurt and Lonzo led the team for a couple of weeks. I still thought that Lonzo was very inconsistent from behind the arc. He couldn't even knock down an open three-pointer. He can't finish with his left hand, as even when he's on the left side of the court, he still finishes and goes up with his right hand. And his free throw ability was even worse in his sophomore season on less attempts. There was no reason for the Lakers to keep him, especially when giving him up would result in getting Anthony Davis. It really blew my mind that people were saying the Lakers were missing out on a special talent in Lonzo Ball when he never was that, because even his greatest strength, his playmaking ability, it was hampered by how bad he was offensively. Teams would just sag off of Lonzo because he's not going to make an open three. He's not great from the mid-range whatsoever. So if you're an opposing defense, all you have to do is stop him from getting an open layup, which isn't even a guarantee for him to make, and you'll be good. So as far as I'm concerned, Lonzo Ball in Los Angeles was a failure. And considering the expectations not only from his father and LeVar Ball saying he's going to be better than Steph Curry and that he's better than Steph Curry even while he was at UCLA, or Magic Johnson saying that Lonzo's going to break a lot of his records, or just the simple fact that he was drafted second overall in the draft, I think it's fair to say that Lonzo Ball in LA was an NBA bust. But now that he's in New Orleans and he's had a relatively decent year, especially with his improvement from behind the arc, which was much needed, not only for his game to grow, but it was going to be very vital for the success of the New Orleans Pelicans. It leads me to think, is Lonzo still an NBA bust? And my answer to that is yes, because yes, he's still a solid quality player who, hell, one day maybe he could make an all-star game as an injury replacement for Ja Morant in the future. But the facts are the facts. He was not only projected to be the next all-time great or the next best point guard in the league, but he was taken second overall. Not 5th, not 7th, not 13th, second overall, ahead of players who have not only had better careers from the moment they touched an NBA court, but are going to have better careers more than likely if things go the way that they are currently going. Guys such as Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Jason Tatum. I mean, at the end of the day, Lonzo Ball was projected to be an all-time great and completely missed the mark. Even when you lower the bar and say, hey, just be an all-star, is that even a guarantee anymore for Lonzo Ball? Because I don't think so. For a guy that still can't make a left-handed layup or a free throw for that matter, I don't think he's going to be making any all-star teams, especially when you have guards coming up in the West such as Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell. Hell, you could even throw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander into that equation because he's definitely in that conversation and Lonzo Ball is not. And I know a lot of people are wondering, Ayo Mustard, didn't you make a video about the Pelicans possibly becoming the NBA's next dynasty? Yes, and that further proves my point. Lonzo Ball is not going to be some superstar in that conversation. He's going to be a starter for that team. He's not going to be a star. He's not going to be a superstar. And hell, in most years, he may not even be a top 10 point guard. He just fits with what the Pelicans need him to do, and if he can do that, the Pelicans have a bright future ahead of them. He's a guy that's going to be riding along with the party. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Lonzo Ball was given expectations to become the next big thing in the NBA at the point guard position. And whether those expectations are fair or not, they were expectations that were given to him, and even when the bar is lowered, he still fails to reach the expectations. And it's not a knock on Lonzo. It's a knock to all the people that talk about players coming out of college and heap such high praise on a single player that you're putting him in the realm of excellence of all-time greats and giving them those kind of ceilings when in reality, they're just not going to reach those level of successes. And it's not on them. I blame the people who hype these players up. I blame sports shows. I blame YouTubers. I blame guys like me. Because whether it's Bol doing some scrimmage game or Lonzo Ball making a nice half-court pass to TJ Leaf, we want to compare it to something just so we can fulfill our desires to have the next big thing in the NBA for our own entertainment. Is it wrong? Yeah, it probably is. Will it be stopping anytime soon? Nah, it won't. But that concludes this video, you guys. Let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. I'm sure many people will disagree and have a lot to say down there. Also, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and check out the links in the description box, as well as hit that bell for post notifications. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. I'm out. Peace.